shall wander, I shall trod, for your Lord is.
Be resolute of heart, make firm thy mind. The tongue of a man is the rudder of the boat, but the Lord of all is its pilot. Cast not thy heart after riches, there's no ignoring fate and destiny. Place not thy thoughts on things outside, every man is destined for his hour.
On feeling goods where all of your cash went, not chakra alignment or inward refinement. Trying to find one word to describe men. Better yet, can one consciousness unify them? Pondering on these questions is where my time spent. Creative process, believe me, greatness got to achieve it. Ideas we believe in, positive mind, gotta reach in it. Putting effort to bring forth this new being. You're not consumed by the lust for things, but knows that his work is determined by words and deeds. Your mind is affected by words and deeds. Your thoughts are keys to what you're trying to see, and what you're trying to see should be to reach your goals. Hold on to your dreams, keys open doors. Since you can't always choose circumstances, make sure to choose your thoughts wisely. Choose advancement, work towards the future. Now's your chance, kid. Accept responsibility, avoid resentment. Actions always take root from what you think about. Things ain't going your way, it ain't hard to figure out. Why? Why? Ask why. Ain't gotta tell you, it's right in front of your eyes. So in following these principles, you'll find along the road you're the only one responsible for your soul. It's no coincidence. Take control of your life, no coincidence. It's no coincidence. You take control, no coincidence. It's no coincidence. Yeah, it's no coincidence. It's no coincidence. Nah, it's no coincidence.
Old shells are highly prized. And this one is occupied by a sarcastic fringe.
You are now entering another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of critical thinking. A journey to a wondrous land with boundaries that of clarification. Your next stop, the Sanity Zone.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
So, you're a philosopher?
Yes. 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 I think very deeply. I think very deeply. I think very deeply. I think very deeply.
In about 4 seconds, a teacher will begin to speak.
I think very deeply.
Alright, you're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, aka The Brave, on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio. What's up, people? Thank God it's Friday. What's up? Alright, so I'm getting all these texts all of a sudden. Alright, so anyway, so what's up? It's Friday. Wonderful week. Donald Trump went to the border. He gave his little address to the nation. Actually proving that there is a crisis, on our southern border, which it is an interesting thing the way everything has come about, right? If we go back a few weeks, months, the last 2 years, the Democrats have called the problem on the border a crisis themselves. Actually, they called it a crisis when the 2 kids actually passed away on the border, right? They called it a humanitarian crisis. So now that Trump came out and called it a humanitarian crisis, now they're saying there's no crisis. Nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here. Remember, like I said, you go back just a couple of weeks ago, the kids die. It's a crisis. The kids being held is a crisis. The families coming through the border and out of necessity having to charge the parents because they're breaking the law. It's a crisis when you separate them. Everything has been a crisis for the Democrats on the border. Now that Trump has called it a crisis, it's no longer a crisis. And what they're telling you is don't believe your lying eyes. You see it's a crisis. And the one that I love most is that they go, let's compare it to 20, 40 years ago. The numbers are down. But I say, why go that far? Why go all the way to 20 years ago? How about you just look at 2017? Are they down from 2017? No, they're up over 20% since 2017. Just look back a year ago. Instead, they go, if you look at the numbers 20 years ago, they're down. And we know there's been a crisis of unaccompanied children going on for years. Under the Obama administration, we had the problem. As a matter of fact, the famous pictures that you get to see, all the time of the children in cages actually comes from 2014 under the Obama administration. And it was the courts that told Obama that he had to make it better for those kids, that he couldn't separate families. It was the courts that said that. And then that led to Obama's big speech and all of this stuff, you know, him actually, because you got to remember, Obama for years had been saying he can't do anything about illegal immigration. He said he constantly said he wasn't a king. And I've played those clips before. He always said it's Congress's job to do this. And then he finally said, in the absence of Congress doing its job, I'm going to do this. And he created DACA. Right? Now, we know that a president doesn't create law, right? A president doesn't create law. Obama passed an executive decision. And an executive decision is usually easily reversible by the next president. Of course, we have activist judges that have been actually treating DACA as if it's a law. And it's not a law. Right? And if you actually let Trump use the same powers that Obama used to create DACA, and you let Trump have those same powers to create a wall, people go crazy. They say the president can't do this. He doesn't have the powers. Obama didn't have the power to create DACA. And he had been saying it for years, that he wasn't a king and this isn't how our democracy operates. That's what Obama was saying. Right? So now we're at a situation where the Democrats have been calling the border a crisis, no longer a crisis. And the thing is that you have to be foolish. You have to be foolish or just mentally lazy to accept all of these things that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are saying. There's no crisis. At one point, Nancy Pelosi said we could fix the border by mowing the grass so that we could see who's coming. And now they want to increase funding, which is something that Trump wants to do anyway, but it's part of the solution. To increase funding at the legal ports of entry, right? So we could have extra security on the legal ports of entry. But what we need, and we want that too, but what we need is security on the illegal ports of entry, the wide open portion of the border. But they're telling you basically there's no problem, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here when we know that's a lie because they have voted in the past for a substantial border. I think the numbers are like Nancy Pelosi voted twice for it. Chuck Schumer voted like 6 times for a border. Obama voted for it in 2006. Hillary Clinton voted for it. And President Donald Trump went to the border yesterday and he met with the real experts. You hear Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer say, the experts say that we don't need a wall or a fence, steel slats, whatever you want to call it. That we don't need it. Which experts? Who are these experts? Because Trump actually went down to the border with the experts, the Border Patrol. And they say that you need a wall or a substantial barrier or, a fence, whatever you want to call it. I prefer to call it what Chucky Schumer called it, a substantial barrier, when he voted for it, when he argued for it. We need it. And the real professionals or the real experts tell you we need it. One of the Border Patrol agents over there, he said that they catch 4 to 6% of the people at the legal ports of entry, or where there are fences, where there are barriers. They catch 4 to 6%. So that means 94% of their arrests are at the places where there aren't any barriers. So think about it. Why is the number so low where there are fences and so high where there isn't a barrier to stop anybody from coming in? 94% of the arrests are where there are no fences. So, and I guess this border debate is going to keep going. Our government is shut down. The Democrats don't want to open up the government. And they go, well, wait a minute. The Democrats have been basically piecemealing this thing, trying to they're trying to pass things, and they're saying, oh, we want to open up the government. Let's open up this department. Let's open up that. Let's open up that. And the president doesn't want to. No. We don't. There's no way we're going to fall for that, because Obama, when he was president, and the Republicans wanted him to deal with health care or border security, he always said, don't send me anything that you know I'm not going to sign because it's dead on arrival. You're wasting the taxpayers' dollars. You're wasting the time of the president, of everyone else in Congress, by passing legislation that you know the president won't sign. That actually, Harry Reid was leader of the Senate at the time, and he would say, anything that's dead on arrival is not going to get voted for. It's dead on arrival. It's not going to get voted for. If you know that the Senate isn't going to take it up, don't waste your time and the taxpayers' time and the taxpayers' dollars. And now we see the Democrats doing the same exact thing. They're passing bills that they know the Senate isn't going to take up, and they know that the president won't sign. They are not serious about opening up this government. The Democrats are not serious about opening up the government. They are sending bills that they know will not make it to the president's desk. They're wasting our time, and I think today's the first day that the federal employees are not getting paid because of the government shutdown. That's on the Democrats. The Democrats for years have been talking about how they want border security. The Democrats for years voted on substantial barriers themselves. And now they don't want to give it to Trump just because it's Trump. This is the thing, that I understand hating Trump, but now you're dealing with people who are lying. They blame Trump for lying all the time. They accuse him of lying all the time. Yet they go in front of the camera and they tell you walls don't work, barriers don't work, when they know they work. As a matter of fact, Border Patrol was telling you it works. You only get 4 to 6% of the people going through where there are barriers. Why would they go to where there's barriers that's going to stop them? Instead, they go through the open areas. This is coming from the experts. But here's the problem. As long as the citizens allow Congress to act this way, it's going to keep going. People are not going to get paid. Right? And I remember dealing with the Democrats when it was Obama president and the Republicans fighting with him over the budgets and all of this stuff. And the government got closed down. Now remember, Barack could have opened it up at any time too, right? He just had to go along with the Republicans and what they wanted. Just like President Trump could just go along with the Democrats and give them what they wanted. But he called it a Republican shutdown because they wouldn't come to the table, or they wouldn't bow down to Obama or like Trump. Nancy Pelosi is refusing to negotiate with Trump at all. So it's just, let's actually be fair and compare what's going on to when President Obama was president. Do we really want to keep the government shut down? Nancy Pelosi can open it at any time. And here's the kicker, right? Because President Trump called her and Chuck Schumer to the White House this week. And what happens? Trump was willing to open the government. He told them, if I open up the government, give you everything you want, in 30 days will we have a vote on the wall? Will you give me funding for a barrier? And Nancy Pelosi said no. Once again, lying to everybody. Because Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi have been saying that it's not necessary to shut down the government, that we could actually negotiate Homeland Security's budget and the barrier outside of this government shutdown. So she has no intention of negotiating it. He said, if I give you everything you want, will you give me? And she said, no. She has no intention. He was willing to open up the government and give everything they want, and she said no. Now keep in mind, Trump is asking for $5 billion. Less than 1%. Less than 1% of our $4 trillion budget. I think it's 0.1% of, it's just ridiculous. It's very little of our $4 trillion budget. The government wastes so much more money than that. Illegal immigrants cost the government about $100 billion every year. Taking $5 billion to actually secure our borders so we have less illegal immigration, it's going to pay for itself. Less people coming through the border, less money we have to spend on illegal immigrants. All right, I'll take a quick music break and I'll be right back. You're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry A.K. the Brave.
Yeah, rock your body. Illegal business controls America. Business controls America.
I never ever ran from the Ku Klux Klan, and I shouldn't have to run from a black man.
Industry rule number 4080. Record companies are shady. Yeah, I know y'all been waiting. Y'all been patient. Let's go. I be the MC version of Huey P, the all-seeing through my 2020 brown Bruce Lee's, Malcolm X / Muhammad Ali, karate chapter riders block with the Hasi Selassie karate. Your photo shoots with the same old stare. You're sitting there in the wicker chair, holding the heat. You're in the spare with my coalition comrades in the rear. Pat downs, Peasy, we here with their fists cause of what I say. These rappers wanna blast me away, but I'll be back with no delay like Jesus Christ on Easter Sunday. In their rings, they wanna murder God body. Sacrifice the life of the Christ on Good Friday. Resurrect and return the wreck. Snap a nigga neck for some live effects. Approach the podium, give a mic check, adjust the specs, bless the chest with a bulletproof vest before I catch wreck. Spitting and spazzing yo in the side of assassins and rapping before biggest bullets be blasting yo at my black ass and here to free the hood from the mental enslavement. This ain't gangster rap, this is a form of edutainment. Controversial kissy notions coming through the speaker like a brick through the living room window of a civil rights leader. Prolific, gifted, leaving spirits lifted like Dr. King's last words before we got his cap twisted. I'm told I'm a nigga with an attitude, cause I choose to spell America like Ice Cube, yo, out America. I got some real bad news, me and my crew's about to open up some all black schools. I ain't Jacob, but wake up baby, I drop jewels on young tykes to keep their business tight like Kites core jewels. Apologize, I highly refuse when it's cool. Yo, when I choose to use the word again, referring to my black brothers and sisters when you really want me to mistreat my Miss Silly like Mr. like Rama. I just want y'all to follow the leader when Whitey want me to beat her like Silly told Hoppo to do to Sophia. Leave the color purple bruises on the complexion, need to give her everlasting love and affection with every inch of my
All right, you're listening to Breaking News on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio. I'm Harry, aka the Brave. All right, we're gonna go to some video. Hopefully this works.
My fellow Americans, tonight I am speaking to you because there is a growing humanitarian and security crisis at our southern border. Every day, Customs and Border Patrol agents encounter thousands of illegal immigrants trying to enter our country. We are out of space to hold them, and we have no way to promptly return them back home to their country. America proudly welcomes millions of lawful immigrants who enrich our society and contribute to our nation. But all Americans are hurt by uncontrolled illegal migration. It strains public resources and drives down jobs and wages. Among those hardest hit are African Americans and Hispanic Americans. Our southern border is a pipeline for vast quantities of illegal drugs, including meth, heroin, cocaine, and fentanyl. Every week, 300 of our citizens are killed by heroin alone, 90% of which floods across from our southern border. More Americans will die from drugs this year than were killed in the entire Vietnam War. In the last 2 years, ICE officers made 266,000 arrests of aliens with criminal records, including those charged or convicted of 100,000 assaults, 30,000 sex crimes, and 4,000 violent killings. Over the years, thousands of Americans have been brutally killed by those who illegally entered our country, and thousands more lives will be lost if we don't act right now. This is a humanitarian crisis, a crisis of the heart and a crisis of the soul. Last month, 20,000 migrant children were illegally brought into the United States, a dramatic increase. These children are used as human pawns by vicious coyotes and ruthless gangs. 1 in 3 women are sexually assaulted on the dangerous trek up through Mexico. Women and children are the biggest victims, by far, of our broken system. This is the...
I'm gonna pause it right there, because everything he said there is factually correct until he gets to that point, right? When he says 1 in 3 women are, victims of sexual abuse or whatever, right? And the Democrats running to prove him wrong. They fact check him, and it's actually 3 out of every 5 women that are sexually abused on their trek to the United States. And many of these women are sex trafficked. I was talking to immigrants who, the one I was talking to yesterday is legal, right? So, but he knows and has family and friends who take this trek. And I was telling him how I'm shocked. I'm shocked that women are, that women actually take this journey, this trek, knowing that they're going to be sexually assaulted. And I also was talking about the fact that they bring a lot of these young girls, 10 to 14, 15-year-old, one of the Border Patrol was saying, they come with birth control. You find when they catch them, when they apprehend them, they have birth control in their pockets. And they bring it because they know they're going to be sexually assaulted, molested. They know it. And the parents send them anyway. These are unaccompanied children are sent with birth control, knowing that they are going to be victims to a sexual assault, raped, molested. They're going to be victims. These parents send their children. Most of the children that the Border Patrol has over there are unaccompanied. Right? So, and this is the thing I always say, these parents send their children or send for their children. Some of these children, the illegals, are here. This is what I was talking with my immigrant friend. There are parents here who took the journey themselves, who suffered themselves, right, in that journey, who turn around and send for their kids, right? And they're paying $10,000, $12,000 to these coyotes, right? And the coyotes are bringing them over with grown men, and the coyotes themselves sexually abuse these kids. And It's insane, but these parents actually send for their kids. They're paying $12 to have their kids walk across the desert and get sexually abused. Why don't we deal with that issue? And if we make it harder to come in, many of these people won't come in. There's a reason why 4 to 6% of the arrests are at the point where there are barriers. Over 90% come in where there isn't anything. And some of these kids die on their journey. The coyote is not going to wait for them. The coyote is not a doctor. A lot of these people die in the desert by themselves. Why? Why are we creating, or not creating, because we have laws, we have immigration laws, but we're creating this system that allows people to think that they could come across that terrain, risking their lives, risking their children's lives, because we're a magnet here, because we tell them it's okay to do it. We have to make it harder. Our borders should be sacred. We should be able to defend and block anybody from coming in. And that will deter a lot of people from coming. People go, well, it's not going to keep out 100% of the drugs. It's not going to keep out 100% of the people. There's still people who are going to try it. Yeah, but the numbers will go down. This is what the Border Patrol agent was saying. Before there were fences where he was saying only 4 to 6% come, it used to be wide open and people will flood through those areas. That's why they put fences. That's why they put barriers there. And when the barriers were erected, people stopped coming. Instead, they go to the areas where it's wide open. Let's not leave anything wide open anymore. Do you leave your door wide open? Do you go to bed at night with your door wide open in your house? Do you leave the light on for whoever wants to come into your house? All right. Listen to a little more of this.
Tragic reality of illegal immigration on our southern border. This is the cycle of human suffering that I am determined to end. My administration has presented Congress with a detailed proposal to secure the border and stop the criminal gangs, drug smugglers, and human traffickers. It's a tremendous problem. Our proposal was developed by law enforcement professionals and border agents at the Department of Homeland Security. These are the resources they have requested to properly perform their mission and keep America safe. In fact, safer than ever before. The proposal from Homeland Security includes cutting-edge technology for detecting drugs, weapons, illegal contraband, and many other things. We have requested more agents, immigration judges, and bed space to process the sharp rise in unlawful migration fueled by our very strong economy. Our plan also contains an urgent request for humanitarian assistance and medical support. Furthermore, we have asked Congress to close border security loopholes so that illegal immigrant children can be safely and humanely returned back home. Finally, as part of an overall approach to border security, law enforcement professionals have requested $5.7 billion for a physical barrier. At the request of Democrats, it will be a steel barrier rather than a concrete wall. This barrier is absolutely critical to border security. It's also what our professionals at the border want and need. This is just common sense. The border wall would very quickly pay for itself. The cost of illegal drugs exceeds $500 billion a year.
Oof.
Vastly more
That's at
than the
$100
$5.7 billion we have requested from Congress. The wall will also be paid for indirectly by the great new trade deal we have made with Mexico.
And I'll pause it right there, because this is an important part also. People choosing to be ignorant. And I've argued with people. I argue all the time with Democrats who are intelligent, but are intentionally stupid when it comes to this. No one ever said Russia. No one ever said Mexico was going to cut a check. Actually, during the campaign, during an interview, Trump says, of course Mexico's not going to cut a check. It would be nice. It would be nice, but we know Mexico's not going to cut a check. We're going to do it with a new trade deal, with this, with that. There are other avenues in which this, what he called Mexico paying for it, which means Mexico would get less in a trade deal and we'd get a wall. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. And also, like he said, basically this wall pays for itself because it actually stymies the amount of people coming in. It stops it. So if less people are coming in, that's less money taxpayers are paying on illegal immigrants. And it's only $5.7 billion. Less than 1% of our budget. Our $4 trillion budget, which every year there's one of the congressmen puts out a list, or senators, of the waste that our government does. They pay for programs like snails on treadmills. Yet they won't pay for security on the border. They could care less about the U.S. citizens dying at the hands of illegal immigrant criminals. All right, I'm going to cut the speech there. I'm going to play music. I'll be right back because my time is running out. You're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio.
Kel's in the building with me, though. Huh? Smoking mirrors, but the Zilla got the straight vision after holding the ups down just like victims. Got a double notch to kick, you see the fam tripping. My shoulders RTB, we on the mission, pardon me. That bull be a DUV, you won't last like RG3, I guarantee. Money back and y'all don't want none of that. Treat it like leftovers, gotta keep it under wraps. Only at a concert would Jews be the ones to clap. The king's is back, you hear it's clear, this ain't no mumble rap. Trump hand thoughts follow these walks like a thundercat. Sitting on my ego, high level to the money stack. I be trying to get it, they be trying to borrow. I see them with their hands out, I'ma see you tomorrow. Not the one to follow, drink the beer and swing the bottle. Roll a plank and get higher than Mount Kilimanjaro. Success fill a hater heart with sorrow. If you side switch your dudes to get what you get. Me and Kel's got the force come to sip. Trouble you quick, them other side cats wanna run and hide facts. Small world, see me right where you at. Burn the J right in the front and I'ma be right back. See about what they talking so I know it's real. Spike now, you know the deal. Don't fuck the city up like a Cloverfield.
Dog, we never changed up. Dog, we never changed up. For 2 decades, we've been on the same stuff. Like how I tied my people, we done came up. Now let me mix the
All right, you're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave. All right, let's listen to some more clips. Still got Obama when he was running for president. Because it's important that you hear what the other side was saying when they weren't in power.
This is not going to be a free ride. It's not going to be some instant amnesty. What's going to happen is you are going to pay a significant fine. You are going to learn English. You are going to go to the back of the line so that you don't get ahead of somebody who was in Mexico City applying legally. But
actually, this is Obama when he was president. Okay, this is actually when President Obama. This is President Obama saying this.
After you've done these things over a certain period of time, you can earn your citizenship. So that it's not something that is guaranteed or automatic. You've got to earn it, but over time, you give people an opportunity. Now, it only works, though, if you do all the pieces. I think the American people, they appreciate and believe in immigration, but they can't have a situation where you just have 500,000 people pouring over the border without any kind of mechanism to control it. So we've got to deal with that at the same time as we deal in a humane fashion with folks who have put down roots here, have become our neighbors, have become our friends. They may have children who are U.S. citizens.
So Obama wanted to deal with the 500. Now look, they say, I think it was 500,000 people he was talking about, right? So you have 500,000 people that they catch at the border every year. Now, Border Patrol estimates that they catch 1 in 5 people crossing the border. So if they're catching 500,000 a year, what does that say? How many are really coming in? Right? Because you do the 1 in 5, and it means 4 people, or only 1 in 5 are getting caught. That means 4 other people made it in. So you're looking at, what, 2 million people coming every year? That's the thing. We have to be more realistic with what's going on. My time is running out. I want to play some more Obama clips, but it's getting kind of ridiculous here. Let me try to play this one.
The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half-century. And to those members of Congress who question my authority to make our immigration system work better, or question the wisdom of me acting where Congress has failed, I have one answer. Pass a bill. I want to work with both parties to pass a more permanent legislative solution.
And there you go. So, when Barack Obama was president, he told Congress, and of course, it was a Republican Congress, right? So the media didn't care, right? If Trump was to say that, they'd say, well, what does he think? He's a king? Because I've heard it here. I've heard it all the time. Oh, he's making these statements like people have to do what he says. He thinks he's a king. Well, Obama just said it right there, right? He said the reason he was doing something, and this is when he was doing DACA, the reason he was doing something is because Congress failed to do something. Congress refused to do something. And what did he say? You want to be involved in this? Pass a bill. Pass a bill. And this is exactly what Trump is saying. You want to resolve this? Pass a bill. Let's fix the asylum claim law, right? That anybody could come in. Let me tell you, if they catch Mexicans coming in through the border, the law says they could automatically reverse those people, return them. But anybody else other than Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, they could apply for asylum and they have to wait their court date. We have to change those laws. We have to be able to return everybody who comes in and make them wait in their own countries. Right? We're able to do it with Mexico. Right? And Mexico, we know it's not like they're living in a gray area either, right? You have the cartel killing people. You have some towns without sheriffs because the cartels kill them every time they take a job. But we're able to return the Mexicans. So, here you go. There you go. Obama, from his lips. If you want to be involved with the decision making in immigration, pass a bill. Let's do something about it. And now the Democrats, who wanted to do something under Obama, right, when they were the minority party, now that they're the majority in the House of Representatives, they don't want to do anything. Now that you have the perfect storm, the perfect situation where Republicans, Trump has the Republicans willing to give on DACA. That's something the Republicans refuse to give. Trump has them willing to give on DACA. And the Democrats refuse to come to the table. They refuse to do anything on border security. Nancy Pelosi's solution was cut the grass so we see who's coming. The border is a real problem. And the Democrats have to come to the table. All right. Quick music, and I'll be right back to say goodbye.
All I need is peace of mind until they bury me. Living life stress-free, full of integrity. A lot of people full of drama. I'm on the highway floating, sober, reflecting on life, striving to master self. And all my negative vices, advice from Andrew, the alcoholic, was priceless. Don't tell him your moves before you make them, remain silent. Another vet read me like the Bible. He said I wear the mask, but the said he could see the pain under my eyelids. And straight to my soul, right through my iris. I've donated wheatgrass to the homeless. Pulled guns, shot a few brothers, I don't condone it. Did time, I gave them what I owed them. A few chicks I had to let go that I couldn't grow with. I start to understand Dr. Dre reason for making millions of dollars and I've been leaving it. I guess peace of mind is the ultimate freedom. My vision board is opulent and it's a rerun in my mind. My thoughts has become a better me. I know I come from kings and queens, my royal pedigree.
All right. You're listening to Breaking News with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio. All right. I guess final words before I leave. We have to be serious as citizens, right? Whenever, for instance, me, right, who was anti-Obama. I didn't like Obama. It had nothing to do with the color of his skin. It didn't matter where he was born. It didn't matter nothing. I hated his policies. Right? But as an American, I wouldn't want anything to happen to Obama. Like the stuff I hear from Democrats, wishing Trump dead and all of that stuff, it's insane. And I always wanted Congress to work. I want Congress to always work. That's why I like divided Congress. I like the Democrats having the House of Representatives and the Republicans having the Senate, because it actually lends itself to actual negotiations, although the Democrats wants to do nothing. It's time for the citizens to actually make their voices heard and say, come on, Congress, work. If you stood for something in the past, we expect you to stand up for it now. All right, I got to get out of here. You've been listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news.
So, you're a philosopher?
Yes.
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 All right, people.
Yes. I think very deeply.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Deeply. I deeply.
In about 4 seconds, a teacher will begin to speak.
I think very deeply.
See ya!
Hi, I'm Bella, and you can see my YouTube channel at SpideyGirls/Bella. You are listening to WNAH LP 103.5 FM, New Haven, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Follow and share.